Long before we had science, we had stories. And you'd be hard-pressed to find a story that's had a bigger impact on the world than this one. So today, we're going to dive into the first 4 chapters of Genesis. It's a powerful story about a perfect beginning, a truly catastrophic fall, and the very first family drama. Think about that. Just a handful of words, and boom, an entire universe kicks into gear. Right from the get-go, this isn't some chaotic, cosmic accident. The story starts with a deliberate, powerful act, setting up this sense of order from the very first line. So this first part of the story, it plays out like a divine blueprint. We're told the earth was formless and empty, basically a blank canvas, just waiting for the master artist to get to work. And this whole creation story has this really cool rhythm to it, kind of like a cosmic work week. First, God separates things, light from dark, sky from sea, land from water, you get the idea. And then he fills those new spaces. The sun and moon go up in the sky, fish and birds fill the seas and the air. It's this elegant pattern, right? Separate, then populate. And it just keeps building, day by day. And then, bam, we hit the climax of the whole creation week. On day 6, humanity walks onto the stage, and they're given this unique, powerful status. They're made in God's own image, which is a huge deal. And they're given a job to rule over everything else. This puts humanity right at the center of the stage for everything that's about to happen. Okay, so now the camera, you could say, zooms way in. We go from this massive cosmic scale down to one single intimate spot, the Garden of Eden. And this is where the epic story becomes a deeply human one. So let's meet our first character, Adam. And the way he's made is described as super personal. He's not just spoken into existence. He's formed from the dust of the ground, and God breathes life right into him. Then he gets placed in this amazing garden, a paradise that God literally planted just for him. And life in this garden, it's pretty much perfect. He's got a job to do, take care of the place. He's got all the food he could ever want. Every tree is fair game. But, and there's always a but, right? Amid all this perfection, the story sets up its main conflict. You've got these 2 special trees, and one single, all-important rule. Whatever you do not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, God looks at Adam and says, you know what? It's not good for this guy to be alone. So while Adam's in a deep sleep, God takes one of his ribs and from that forms a woman. She's named Eve, called a suitable helper. And the 2 of them just exist, together, in total innocence, without any shame at all. Yeah, that perfect, shameless existence, it's about to come crashing down. The story takes a sharp, dramatic turn. We're about to meet our antagonist and witness the temptation that changes, well, everything. And here he is, the villain of the story shows up. It's a serpent, and the text calls it the most crafty of all the animals. And notice how it starts. It doesn't bark in order. It asks a question. A clever, subtle question designed to plant a seed of doubt, to make God's incredible generosity sound like some kind of harsh restriction. And this is it. This is the central choice of the whole story. You've got God's very clear warning, which comes with the consequence of death, and then you have the serpent's flat-out denial, promising something so tempting. You'll be like God. You'll have this incredible knowledge. And, well, Eve and then Adam, they go for the promise. So what happens right after they eat the fruit? Is it regret? Nope. It's the blame game. God shows up and confronts them, and all this new knowledge they have, it just leads to fear and pointing fingers. Adam blames Eve, and he kind of blames God too for giving him the woman in the first place. Then Eve trims around and blames the serpent. Nobody, and I mean nobody, takes responsibility. And that one act of disobedience sends these massive shock waves through all of creation. This is the story's explanation for why life is so hard. The serpent gets cursed to crawl on its belly. The woman is told she'll have pain in childbirth and conflict in her relationship with her husband. And the man, his life is going to be all about hard labor, fighting the ground just to get food, right up until the day he dies and turns back to dust. And that's it. Their exile is final. They're kicked out of paradise. The reason? To stop them from eating from the tree of life and being stuck in this broken state forever. So, mortality is now a done deal, and the way back to Eden is blocked by angels and a flaming sword. No going back. But the fallout doesn't just stop with Adam and Eve. Oh no. The story immediately shows us how that brokenness gets passed right down to the next generation. We're about to go from the first sin to the first murder. So Adam and Eve have two sons. There's Cain, who's a farmer, and Abel, a shepherd. They both bring an offering to God. Now, the text is a little vague on the why, but God is pleased with Abel's offering, the best parts of his firstborn flock, but not with Cain's offering from the soil. And that rejection, it lights a fuse of deadly jealousy inside Cain. And God actually steps in. He gives Cain this direct warning, talking about sin like it's some kind of predator crouching at your door, and tells him you have to master it. But Cain doesn't listen. Instead, he lures his brother out into a field, and, just completely consumed by rage, he kills him. The very first human born on this planet becomes the world's first murderer. So when God comes and asks Cain, "Hey, where's your brother?" his reply is one of the most famous, chilling lines ever. "Am I my brother's keeper?" It's so much more than a lie. It's a total rejection of any responsibility for another human being. You can almost hear the echo of his parents passing the buck in the garden, can't you? Cain's punishment is a dark mirror of his parents' exile, only way more intense. He doesn't just get kicked out of a garden. The ground itself is now cursed for him. It won't grow crops for him anymore. He's doomed to be a restless wanderer, totally cut off from any sense of home or belonging. But then the story throws us a curveball. Even after this horrific crime and this terrible curse, God shows this really strange kind of mercy. He puts a mark on Cain to protect him, promising that if anyone kills him, they'll face a vengeance 7 times worse. It's this really complicated mix of justice and protection. And this leads to a fascinating paradox in the story. Cain, the guy doomed to wander, ends up building the very first city. And it's through his family line, the line of the first murderer, that things like civilization, music, and technology start to pop up. It's this incredible idea that human progress is all tangled up with our own flaws and violence. So let's just recap. In just 4 quick chapters, we've gone from a world God called very good all the way down to a family torn apart by murder. It's this incredibly fast downward spiral that leaves us with this huge, lingering question about what it means to be human. Is this story trying to tell us that our ability to create amazing things and our capacity to do terrible things are just 2 sides of the same coin, woven into us from the very beginning?